Bad news coming in from Ola this morning. Hemant Bakshi, the CEO of Ola Cabs, has resigned after 4 months into his role. Bakshi's departure, a former senior executive at Unilever, coincides with the restructuring exercise currently happening at Ola. The company is laying off at least 10% of its 1,800-strong workforce. The restructuring is a part of a broader push towards profitability as Ola Cabs prepare for an initial public offering. Right before that IPO, which is scheduled for a couple of weeks from now on, it does look like Ola is letting go of people.
Yeah, I think it'll be more than a couple of weeks. I'm looking at least a few more months before, those red herring perspective is filed and Ola does go ahead with its IPO. And through that IPO, Ola Cabs is looking at raising about $500 million. So it is a big IPO and fairly meaningful when it comes to the magnitude and what it can do for Ola. Now, it's interesting, the juncture at which Ola is right now. It's literally at a crossroads where there are multiple factors under its consideration. Number one, we've discussed, is the IPO route. So for IPO to become a success, I think the company has to have shining books and absolutely no blemishes in its report card, which is the P&L statement and the balance sheet. So, a little bit of cost-cutting exercise is fairly normal to shine the books before an IPO. And that shining is coming by way of making the unit more profitable and making the unit a little more competitive. And if that results in a few job losses, albeit it's a fairly high number, it's about 10%, about 200 odd people, then so be it. Now, why these 200 people and what has made these 200 people redundant?
We don't know which job functions these are from.
So what the reports are indicating right now is that it is across functions. But, I think what makes these 200 people absolutely dispensable at this time is Ola founder Bhavesh Agarwal's AI venture called Kothari. And if I were allowed to do a little bit of a wordplay there, it is literally resulting in a crew trim at Ola. And AI is actually making these 200 job roles absolutely redundant. So this is the second road in the crossroads that Ola is right now at. Third in this crossroads is the fact that Ola is now looking at migrating its entire fleet to electric. And when you move the entire fleet to electric, you're obviously then investing in other aspects, which include charging stations and, of course, a full rejuvenation of the fleet. And this fleet, incidentally, not most of it is owned by Ola, and there are partners which buy the cars and then ply them on roads under the Ola app user interface. And now the fourth and equally important one is that there is already competition heating up in the cab aggregation space. And a major, fierce competitor which is emerging right now is in the way of Blue Smart. Okay. And Blue Smart, already 100% electric, operating only in 2 cities, including Bangalore and Delhi NCR, is already a challenger to Ola and Uber both. In fact, if you look at the revenue that Blue Smart has made over the last 1 year, you're looking at almost 20% of the revenue that Ola makes from a cross-country operation operating out of just 2 cities in the case of Blue Smart. So there is going to be this electric mobility shift. There is going to be cost competitiveness ahead of the IPO. And this whole migration to electric mobility is something which is making Ola take very, very strong decisions right now. I'm not sure which part of these crossroads directly coincides with a very short stint of the Ola CEO who has just moved on in just a few months. And is it a misalignment of vision? Is it perhaps, the CEO not being on board with AI interfacing and this whole shift to electric mobility? What we definitely know, which has happened under the CEO who served a very short time at Ola, is the fact that global operations at Ola were folded up. So New Zealand, Australia and 1 or 2 other countries where Ola was operating outside of the shores of India has now completely collapsed, and all the energy is focused towards electric mobility here in India.
And Bhavesh Agarwal will be back as the CEO, at least in the interim, after Bakshi's...
I think that's the beauty or the challenge with startup founders, right? That every time there is a churn in the organization, you've got to come back in the driver's seat. We've seen that happen with Byju's as well. And I think, you can't really have the kind of succession planning that large listed companies have when it comes to younger companies. So, you get somebody laterally from another organization, and when the course is run, you've got to come back into the driver's seat.
All right. So, a mixed news there for Ola as far as its IPO is concerned. That could happen in the next couple of months. But for now, it is expected to let go of at least 200 of its employees in the next coming couple of days. The CEO has also now resigned.